Tea is the most consumed beverage on the planet, but few people know it's rooted in one of the most dangerous trade routes in human history.
To uncover the origins of tea, we follow these ancient trails deep into the subtropical mountains of China, a remote frontier few outsiders ever reach.
What we found completely changed the way we understand tea. Stories of bandits that fell straight out of a Godfather movie, sacred tea trees that survived thousands of years, and a remote ethnic minority who, thanks to their spiritual connection to the forest, creates the purest tea on earth.
By spending time with local tea families, we witness how deeply tea shape community, culture, and people's relationship with nature. So make yourself a cup, because by the end of this video, you'll never see tea the same way again.
We're in southwestern China, the birthplace of tea. The city of Pu'er 1,000 years ago became the starting line of the Tea Horse Road, a brutal trek that spanned thousands of kilometers all the way to Tibet. Since very little grows on the Tibetan plateau, tea was a great way to get important nutrients. In exchange for this precious plant, China demanded elite Tibetan warhorses. This two-way trade evolved into one of the most influential trade networks in history. Today, Pu'er is a bustling, diverse city with an incredible food scene, but before we get there, we're stopping at an ancient resting point that has kept travelers alive for centuries. Just 30 kilometers away from Pu'er, there's a big stop for people traveling on the highway, but it also used to be a major resting point back in the days of the Chamagudao.
This is the Nakoli tea horse resting spot. The name comes from Nakoli, so Ma is the horse, Ku is crying, so meaning in this spot, the horse will start weeping because each horse carries 60 kilo of tea, and this is barely the starting point.
And it's still today a lovely village and resting spot. You can stop for a coffee, for a tea. There's a lot of vendors with snacks, etc. So Nakoli is still the
serves its purpose.
Just that now you don't stop with a horse anymore.
In the small village, things are still pretty old school. When I was young, this is how we pop the popcorn in this device. You fill some corns, heat it up, and put it in the tunnel and open it. It's gonna fill with popcorn. Nowadays, you don't use this anymore. But in small places like this, I guess you can still have this kind of popcorn, the traditional way. The Pu'er Prefecture is where tea was originally traded and become a global story. Going back up from the Tea Horse Trail, we head into Pu'er City. It's a huge melting pot, and we wanted to see firsthand how all this incredible diversity shapes everyday life here.
I can't believe we're in China. We are surrounded by palm trees. The weather is tropical. We just had a typical avocado shake from here, even though certainly avocado is not the first thing that comes to mind when you say China. This city really feels like something else, and it's a very special city because it's the city of Pu'er.
Pu'er is a fermented tea, and it's full of amino acids. It's actually a huge region. It stretches all the way to Myanmar border, and we're really close to Laos as well.
Around here, whenever you meet a person, they're more likely not to be a Han person, because here over 60% of the population is ethnic minorities. There are 28 of them, so I will just let you imagine how amazing the cuisine is and the kind of stuff you can find in terms of produce and markets. Ooh. So we're gonna go and try some.
The local food is the best because the flavor is really complex. Not only because the mix of minorities, but also the Han Chinese are coming from basically different regions. First thing on our menu is this Pu'er style roast chicken. Typical local flavor is more sweet and spicy, so that's what we have here. And you can see like it's really charcoal. Let me just try one. And apparently the chicken is different because they are all free-range chicken, so the meat is more tender and succulent. Ooh. Very deep charcoal flavor, slightly sweet, and then coming with the spiciness. But the charcoal flavor is really deep. Wow, this is amazing. They also have this very flat, white rice noodle. They call it mi gan. Kind of reminds me of pad thai. It has more the Thai flavor profile because sometimes it could be sour and spicy, but in general, spicy. Other very typical local dish. Okra. Local way of eating it is to boil this, dip it in the soy sauce and wasabi, eaten as a sashimi. No, I got too much of the wasabi. The second dish on the table is basically bone marrows. and they use oil to splash on it. Put all the aromatics and flavorings. You use hot oil to pour over those things, and you pour everything onto the dish. So that's the oil splashing cooking technique. Very widely used here. Very smooth. It actually tastes like a mushroom. Their specialty is to grill fish. The fish is giant. It's usually for a big table for like 6 or 8. So we just had a small fish.
Really happy about this fish. This is not your usual barbecue sauce. It definitely tastes Southeast Asian or kind of almost Thai food, but not Thai. It's more zesty and fresh.
To understand why flavors are so different, we have to head into the thick of the night market to see the unique produce that grows around here.
Usually, these kind of markets in China are during the day, right?
Yeah, usually morning, but here it's morning and evening.
And we've seen so many things that you usually don't see commonly in many markets in China. Berries, strawberries, blueberries, those tiny tropical bananas, mountains of avocados.
Avocado here is sorted by size because the bigger it gets, it's more expensive. For example, this one, the giant size, is 28 per kilo. And over there, the smaller one is 10 per kilo.
And now we're gonna try a new fruit we've never seen.
Snake fruit. So the skin looks like a snake. The vendor was telling me this tastes like durian. I never ate durian before.
Does it also smell like durian?
It does smell like durian.
Oh.
It's slightly stinky. Let's see. It's not as stinky as durian, slightly durian flavor, but it tastes like apple. It's quite crunchy. And it has a seed in the middle.
These tropical lands and climate don't just produce exotic fruit. It is the perfect environment for the development of a tea that is also known as
black gold, because it was discovered that it had a lot of health benefits. For tea, it's processed in a special way so that develops some substances that even lower cholesterol. By warming it up at 60 degrees, piling it one on top of each other and wetting it lightly, so it literally make it a little bit rot. But those bacteria that develop at that temperature help break down the substances that make the tea too bitter, so they make it taste better and also lead to the development of these statins that help lower cholesterol and has a lot more health benefits.
One of the world's most prized tea was born completely by accident. To maximize their cargo, merchants of the Chamagudao compressed tea leaves into cakes. As caravans journeyed through very different microclimates, tea started fermenting, developing a richer flavor. And much like wine, the longer pu'er is aged, the more valuable it is.
The smoke is the device where they fry the tea at low temperature so the water would evaporate. But this wouldn't make the tea completely dry. After this, there's 2 more processes. Squeeze the tea, release the moisture, and then put it under the sun to dry completely.
And there's an old saying in Pu'er, teacup in one hand, coffee cup in the other.
One of the best latitudes for growing coffee, so we came to a coffee farm that has some very special coffee.
This coffee farm participated in a space program. So they sent some coffee beans to the space and they retrieved the beans and plant them somewhere. And we were asking to, try this coffee. They don't actually have it in commercial setting. Like, I think it's just for the study.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we didn't get to try
the space coffee. That would be so cool.
That would have been cool, but some of the trees here have been planted apparently with some of those seeds, so there are trees with coffee that has been on space. Now, I'm not a huge coffee expert, I'm a coffee lover, and this really tastes good.
It was time to carry on our tea discovery journey, but first we had to make a quick stop because local told us you can't leave the city without trying this delicious sticky rice.
It is so good, oh, and it hits you with the spice after. Oh, so spicy. Oh, it is amazing. I'm so happy.
This mango has a fair amount of tinginess, and this rice is coated with coconut milk. Yeah, the right amount of sweetness. Oh, it's really coconutty.
The road from Pu'er to the top of Ailao is not for the faint of heart, but when you get to the top of this tea mountain, you realize every turn was worth it.
The scenery is incredible, and on the way here was a very long and winding road. We experienced a very dramatic and fast change of scenery. We were in a cold, foggy, misty weather. We entered the tunnel, we got out, and it was suddenly sunny, tropical, full of fruits and flowers, because here many mountains, including Ailao, especially Ailao, function as a barrier and literally separate shaped the climate of the region into. And we also had a chance to sit down and chat with some local minority people who told us all the folk stories that they believe about the mountain, because they really have a very strong spiritual connection to the mountain.
Tea we're trying is from an ancient tea tree. Normally the tea you can buy from around here, if it's classed as the second class, it's 300 years old tree. And it's kind of fruity. It definitely have a different flavor, and it's not pu'er. This is from the mountain here. The characteristic about Ailao mountain is most trees are covered in this fern or moss, and the tree branches are in weird shapes. So imagine a foggy day. Actually, most days are foggy. In a forest like this, it's very easy to lose directions, and many people, they ended up get lost and die. The local people have great respect for the mountain spirit here. They wouldn't do anything before they ask for permission. Take some chicken and go into the mountain, sacrifice the chicken. Later on, they have to light up firecrackers. If the firecracker makes sound, meaning whatever they were praying for, the mountain spirit answered yes. So it's a go sign.
One of the stories is around the king tea tree, a 2,700 years old tea tree that was discovered in the 80s because the government issued a reward of 1,000 renminbi to whoever could find the oldest tea tree around here. And apparently the people discovered it, but then it was nowhere to be found again until they sacrificed the chicken and asked for permission. A tree that old is like a gene bank of tea trees. It really shows how the genetics of tea trees were before we started making changes to them for consuming tea. So it's a very, very precious tree on a botanical level. And this that you see here is the chamagudao, this incredible, treacherous and dangerous trade route that has shaped lives around this area and all over Asia. So we're gonna follow it for a little bit and talk about it because it's a very incredible story.
Cha Ma Gudao. Cha means tea, Ma means horse, Gudao means ancient trail. They go across this mountain range and see this is mountains after mountains. They have to go across all these mountains and all the way up to Tibet.
It earned its reputation as the most dangerous trade route because the caravan has to navigate the most violent landscape. The paths were narrow ledges above fatal drops, and the mountain passes pushed to over 6,000 meters. It cuts through the eastern Himalayas, where three of the Asian's greatest rivers, the Yangtze, the Mekong, and the Salween, carved gorges so deep and steep no sunlight is in. The porters also carrying tea themselves, up to 90 kilo, strapped to their back, malnourished, even sick, walking on foot for months at a time. And monsoons, snowstorms, bandits, all just part of the journey.
When you walk on a trail like this, the Chamagudao, with all these paved stones, and you realize the stretches of paved road are also pretty long, you can't help but wonder who built this. It's a long effort, generation after generation. The local communities living around different parts of the trail, because they had an interest on the trail getting easier and faster, the more commerce could pass by, the better. And all the main tourist destinations and the prettiest town in Yunnan were all main hubs of the Chamagudao. Think Dali, Lijiang, Shaxi, etc. Why are they so flourishing now? Because there was a continuous flow of people and goods going through them. So obviously the economy developed and also the culture developed. The local people who were working on this route developed a secret language to talk between them about the trade and the business to shield them from bandits. There were a lot of bandits operating on the trade route trying to steal tea and money, and we will go see the house of one of these bandits. They also had a small private army. We are in the garden of the mansion of the main boss of the biggest bandit clan. They made money by offering protection in exchange for a fee.
They were doing other businesses, including smuggling. They were printing money. The last few generations, they were doing real estate. The owner of this house had 700 properties around this area. He built this house in the 40s. It was a sensitive time politically because we had two parties back then, the Red Army and the Kuomintang. The Red Army was kind of like asking tax in the form of food. They were kind of against the idea, so they were a firm supporter of Kuomintang. They were on the wrong side of the history, I guess, and then later on they got raided by the Red Army. We can see some bullet holes on the walls.
The wealth this guy accumulated is crazy because they had an accounting room, 3 separate rooms for the 3 separate wives. He also had floor heating, so he had some tunnels built under the house where there would
would burn wood of coal. Having floor heating in the 40s in Yunnan, China, it's like you must be really rich.
But not only that, this place is built with concrete. He brought concrete specifically for this place. Minority houses, they all made with wood because he has to make this place a fortress. So these tiny holes are shooting holes, larger inside and very tiny on the outside, so they can see the outside and shoot out, being protected. And the middle room here is kind of like a court, the typical setting with weapons around where they judge prisoners or whoever they capture.
So this is the prison where they would put the people they captured and they wanted to jail. You have the shackles here, torture tools for the prisoners, and you have that ditch where they will throw them. There's the dungeon underground. Of course, the environment also shapes the diet. And like you see, around this mountain, there are a lot of black goats. What's famous here for eating is
Black goat hot pot.
Now, I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't look appealing at all, the soup itself, but it
Smells amazing.
incredible.
This meat is cooked in clear soup, and we have this dipped in. One is spicy, and the other one is not spicy. We'll try both, but let's try the soup first. Whoa.
You good?
It has that huimin, halal flavor. It's pretty clear.
Oh, the meat by itself, without the soup, tastes a lot like lamb.
I'll try the spicy sauce first. Whoa, it's very spicy. This meat is super lean, plus a little bit of skin on top. It's a little bit hard to chew. I couldn't tell it's goat if you don't tell me. Very interesting meat.
That night we slept in the car because we wanted to see an extraordinary phenomenon that happens in this viewpoint at every sunrise. But after a cranky cold night and a lot of sitting around the fire, we were greeted by a disappointing thick fog.
I guess that's life telling us to come back someday. And now we head to our final destination, Jingmai Mountain, a UNESCO site of ancient tea tree forest. You'll find some of the oldest wild tea tree on earth, and it's home to the Bulang ethnic minority for over 1,000 years. This place is so remote that just 20 years ago there was no road nor electricity. We arrived not knowing what to expect, but within minutes, locals immediately showed how welcoming they are.
Gotta say, locals are not shy. We were on our way to grab some food and this lovely lady just stormed out of her house and shop. She grabbed Jay by the hand. Now she's taking us, show us where she makes the tea, etc. I think she's inviting us for food. Oh, let's go see. It's very interesting. Like so extroverted. It's amazing. I have to say it's pretty good. It doesn't have like a special flavor profile, like for example Thai food or something. It's a nice stir-fried meat, some side vegetables and a soup. Like this is what you would eat in a Chinese household. The chili is pretty spicy.
They eat very spicy. All the sauces are chili based and my nose start running.
yeah, it's very, very, very spicy. She's so lovely. I cannot believe she bursts into laughing every 2 words that she says. It's amazing. Like, she's so full of joy.
Because I think she's amused by you.
Yeah. She keeps looking at me and then she's like, it's amazing. It's amazing.
And she didn't know how the camera works. It's so funny.
Oh yeah. She got a very big interest in the camera. She's like, oh, what is this? How does it work? Etc. Etc.
The sour tea.
Sour tea.
Yeah, there's many different types of tea here.
在厂子里面有3个月。
I think she wants to show us how it's done, so she made me put the tea there, and now I have to help her bring it upstairs where I think they dry it.
Wow. This is the second drying because the first drying was with the wok. Oh, that's to kill the bitterness, and this one, like after a certain process, they need to dry it again. So yeah, this is the second drying.
Because you can feel it's a bit moist.
Yeah, we have to put them more even because here, for example, it's a huge pile. It's not gonna dry evenly.
But this calligraphy stuff she has in the shop is all made of tea. Wow, it's incredible. And she has a few, and that's where we're gonna have some of the tea we picked. That's the tea we picked. Wow.
This is her.
Oh, that's her picking tea in the mountains. Wow.
哦，
Never had tea like this.
这大妈
What is it? This is like
已经太长了。
this is very fermented.
Yeah, it's very fermented, but she's also telling me I brew it for too long, so now it's overly bitter.
Ah, it's a bit too bitter. But you can feel the sourness, the fermentation, like
Yeah.
this.
你看它太长了耶。
Interesting. This is bai cha, so this is white tea. It's the one that we just picked from the warehouse. And it's just slightly,
区别
you know, it's pretty fresh. Never had white tea.
包括都是普洱，都是普洱，因为它是带气，
Yeah,
我们
well,
不能吃。
flavor is very delicate, as you would expect.
It's a black honey from a type of bee that lives in the dirt here. So she hires someone to
都不是让它
to harvest it because she doesn't want to get stinged. It's quite dangerous. And
What is it?
you can taste it's honey. It has that flavor, but it has a more earthy flavor.
Here on Jingmai Mountain, tea is also at the heart of a daily ritual that every evening brings people together around the fire, brewing fresh tea leaves in a very unique way.
We're joining the host to have some roasted tea. This tea is processed very differently. They roast the tea, fresh tea leaves, they roast them, and then they brew them immediately. So there's almost no processing. Local people drink a lot of these teas.
So last night when we were talking with the owners of the guest house, this other guest from Beijing told us we should get up early tomorrow and go see something, and guess what? Look at this.
I can't remember last time I had this. As the sun started rising, the birds came out. It's really nice.
And it's amazing also to see the villagers start their daily life, because we're on top of some houses here, and as the sun comes up you start seeing the smoke coming out of their chimneys. People start cooking, so they start their day with the birds when the sun rises over this ocean of clouds, which is incredible.
Now the clouds are creeping up and we're also descending, so like we're now in the fog.
Yeah, it's beautiful atmosphere. It's so like misty and foggy, and people are sitting around their fires, roasting their breakfast. There's this lovely lady preparing tofu here. It's beautiful to see how life unfolds as the day starts here.
On this mountain, there's multiple villages. We're gonna go to some of them. One of the tea tree god on this mountain. There are 3 of them. This one is 1,700 years. It's the tea tree god of one of the villages. Local people pray for it when spring comes. Usually it's the first one to grow the new leaves in spring. So when people see they grow new leaves, meaning the other trees would also start to grow new leaves. This is the banyan tree that's split into 2 parts and shaped like a gate to the village. This is the tea god temple where they worship the tea god. And every year they do a lot of ceremonies here celebrating starting of the tea season and harvesting. The tea god is actually their ancestor. His name is Ailao. And a part of this mountain is called Ailao Mountain because he is the first person that bring Bulang people to all do tea plantation. He was like, if I give you gold or money, these would get used up. But if I leave you a huge mountain with tea, generations after generations, it will never end because you can always survive on it.
If I ask you to think about tea plantations, you probably imagine those nice, neat tea terraces that grow on hills. But here, it looks more like this tea forest. The reason why it ended up like this and how, it's a very, very fascinating story. So here we are in the land where the Mekong River flows, comes all the way from the Tibetan glaciers, flows through here, and then goes on to Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, etc. That's the lifeblood of Southeast Asia. But here it also acted as a natural border. On the east bank of the river, you had Yiwu Mountain, which was under the control of the empire. While on the west bank of the river, you had this Jingmai Tea Mountain. On the east side, the emperor decided to ask for tea as a tax. He wanted 40 tons of tea per year. And he drove the farmers there to even cut their own trees because it was too demanding. They couldn't keep up. So on that side of the mountain, the tea was seen as a commodity or as a tax. On this side of the mountain, because of the beliefs of the Bulang ethnic minorities, it's a completely different story because these people believe that in the forests inhabits the tea tree spirit and other spirits. Here, deforestation is forbidden. They wouldn't touch the forest because it's sacred to them. So in this belief that the forest is untouchable because it's the spirit of their ancestors, made them cultivate tea in this very unique way. You have a top canopy of tall trees, and that functions as a natural, very effective filter. So they let just the right amount of sunlight hit the tea trees. Then you have the tea trees themselves, and then you have these wild weeds and ferns and grass growing on them that act as a natural mulch. And also the fallen trees from the canopy act as a nutrient for the tree. This ancient practice today is studied by agronomists worldwide because it turned out to be one of the best ways to grow tea. Also, most importantly, because this is a whole ecosystem with birds, small critters, spiders, naturally and automatically manage the pests. So they also don't have to worry about using pesticides or other things, especially in all their tea trees, which means also the tree is organic. That, together with the unique culture of the Bulang people and how they live here, has contributed to this place being awarded the UNESCO World Heritage Site.
From the tea god temple, on the back there's a small trail. We walk up to this tomb, resting the tea god's wife. She is the 7th princess of the Dai king who lived in Xishuangbanna.
And Xishuangbanna is the next stop on our road trip heading south. Make sure you subscribe and you don't miss that because that place is unlike anywhere else in China and will blow your mind. Buddhist temple looks nothing like other Chan Buddhist temples. It has its own architecture and style that is very much similar to the rest of the houses here. Reminds me more of Theravada Dai temples, probably the influence from the Dai ethnic minority.
Now we're in the beautiful Wangji village to have a lunch, and this is one of the oldest Bulang village in the mountain. Wangji in Bulang language means divination, and we're having some very typical Bulang dishes. This one is the banana blossom, stir-fried with a lot of garlic and Chinese chives. It's almost kind of like a scrambled egg. It's tiny bit chewy because there's a lot of fiber in there, but the banana blossom itself doesn't taste like anything. It tastes more like garlic and chives.
We're also having this pineapple purple rice, which is typical from the area. It's my first pineapple rice ever. And I absolutely love it.
The Bulang people share Jingmai mountain with another ethnic minority, the Dai people. So we decided to explore a few Dai villages, and even if we just drove a few kilometers, it felt like we stepped into another country. Everything was different, the architecture, the costumes, the scripts, but there was one constant: people were always happy to sit down with you for a cup of tea to get to know you better.
The Dai and the Bulang here are the main minority, but only of these villages, because it's actually the region administered by another minority. We have the Lahu.
Who are the minorities in China that believes in God, like Jesus, the Christian.
I wonder how it happened. I would assume a missionary reached Lao villages and, turned them into Christians. On the way to dinner, these people were like, come to the main square, we're doing like the village dance.
One of the entertainments they do evening time, for women especially.
And pay attention to the music. It doesn't sound Chinese at all, because this is their all minority dance. So let's go have some fun. Needless to say, one of the lovely ladies who was at the dance in the square was like, just come to mine and have some tea. So she invited us here. Her brother used to be a monk. She told us that it used to be an obligation before. Kids had to become monks for a while. It was a form of like giving them education.
Now it's not obligation anymore. So like in the village, no more kids wants to be monk.
And she's given us this super cute
wild berries. She dried them with a little bit of sugar.
She candied. Basically, they're like candied wild berries. Delicious, but also sour. And we're gonna have tea with her, and then we're gonna hit the hay because we have a long road trip tomorrow to Xishuangbanna.
Make sure you subscribe now because you don't want to miss that. That's gonna be fun one. We came here chasing the story of how tea left these mountains and reached the rest of the world. But we also found much more. We learned how it brings people together at the end of the day and how quickly it turns strangers into friends. How it's the reason these forests are still standing while the rest of the world is busy cutting theirs down. What Pa Ailao taught the Bulang people is true. The trees, the tea and the land are worth more than anything you could replace them with. A reminder that some of the oldest ways of living might also be the wisest. The next leg of our journey will take us further south where these mountains flatten into the only rainforest in China. And we explored it with a Dai man who knows the jungle like the back of his hand. Sichuan but now, tropical and ancient in a way that caught us completely off guard. Subscribe because it will be an incredible trip.